not come together,
But
especially when it's to do with children.
well, what I'm trying to prove is systemic problems in the system, right? So what we get in the media is part of that. So Ted Geary's work on the fact that social workers often lie, sex up dossiers, that was on the front page of the Sunday Express. Seen that one? Yeah? It was on the front page. In December last year, he's had a couple of other stories, and we hopefully will have a new one coming out soon. And it's just showing different examples of what's going on. But my feeling about it is there's a question of critical mass, and at a certain point, the critical mass will be hit and there'll be a great demand for change, and then Parliament can respond to it. But we're not there yet. And part of it is evidence-based. Right? So it could be that Robert Greene provides part of that. I don't know.
The thing I talked to you about my case is about what you were saying about the regulatory failures, and you were saying that you're snowed under with these cases.
I know there are a lot of
which is the issue actually comes down to regulatory failures.
Yeah.
In my particular case, one of those regulatory failures is the IPCC, which I don't want you to do anything because I'm doing plenty myself. But I just would have thought you might be interested because you were speaking about.
I am interested.
You were speaking about the fact that if the regulatory agencies were doing their work properly, holding these people accountable, then the MP's burden would be less.
Yeah.
And things would be resolved and wouldn't be victims of.
Certainly the case, the high-grade case, could all have been resolved by 2005.
I know, but it's quis custodiet, right? The problem is that once it's been looked at by the regulators, Parliament's traditional setting up a parliamentary committee to look at things isn't happening.
And the last thing I say, because as part of it here, you're saying about prosecution of, for example, social workers or something, if there's evidence to support it. And just like in my particular case, I've had to become the regulator watching the guards, the IPCC, because I'm actually privately prosecuting for the Vernon Courts of Justice in the Crown Court.
That's good.
That is good. And I've had a judge in my case say that there's compelling evidence. The allegations made against me were completely false, no matter what to probably go before a jury. 2 days prior to the plea hearing, they get the Deputy Chief Crown Prosecutor of Bedfordshire and Thames Valley to step in and try and shut the case down. The judge refused, and now that case is off to the Supreme Court. It's scheduled for September or October.
The Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Why the Supreme Court?
Because it's been attached to a case called Gujarat, which is already scheduled to go into the Supreme Court about private prosecutions being a constitutional safeguard as a backstop. And the CPS prior to 2006 were only able to touch cases which have no.
Well, there is a systemic thing I'm interested in your case, which is the CPS taking over cases to shut them down.
That is also what's happening in Usas.
I'd love to send you the papers to it.
But it's that aspect. If you go to we have a case in Jersey, everyone's followed Jersey, it's just right there. In Jersey, they don't have judicial review of the prosecution, and you don't have private prosecution as well. So you haven't got that constitutional safeguard. That's the law. Don't worry about it. Red bell. So you don't have that constitutional safeguard in Jersey, which is an important point, because what we have here is the constitutional safeguard of judicial review of the CPS and the constitutional safeguard of private prosecution, which admittedly can be shut down, but obviously it doesn't. This is the point we're dealing with, which is good. That sounds good. It's one of these things that it sounds very interesting.
Good.
I'll just say there's been quite a lot of media interest in that Guardian article, quite nice. It's been on the TV.
Well, the interesting part to me is the procedural aspect of the CBS coming in to shut it down.
And I can sum it up in 2 seconds what the Supreme Court case, and I'll just shut it down if we get on, is that the CPS prior to 2006 could only touch a prosecution if there was no case to answer. My case is established quite clearly there is a case to answer. They've still tried to shut it down because they've changed on a policy decision that they apply evidential sufficiency and public interest test, which allows them wide discretion to shut down cases. And the question for the Supreme Court is, can a policy decision on CPS erode a constitutional right? And I think that's the question for the Supreme Court.
Well, there is also the procedural question of that constitutional right. Now, have you spoken to your own member of Parliament about this?
Yeah, I'm very much speaking to John McDonald.
John McDonald? He's good on that, is he?
Yeah, he's interested.
I would be interested in that particular aspect. Not the whole of the case.
No, I don't.
It's the aspect which is...
And that's why I wanted to send you. I'll send you
but you're exactly right. What you have is a sort of general sort of shutting down complaints, tolerance.
That aspect I would very much like to take up on, because I intend to write to Sir Nicholas Wall or his underlings tomorrow on behalf of the Musas. And that's what got us here tonight. Because Belinda and I were advised to put in an application to stay the civil proceedings until the outcome of the criminal proceedings. But the CPS delays and delays and
Do
delays.
you mean the civil proceedings?
Well, there's
Or
a
do you mean the
final
family court proceeding?
Well, no, the family court. I mean, it is a family court. I mean,
Yeah, no, I know, but it's...
Well,
I ask you because it's a separate division, and it's not...
it's not as civil as it should be.
I know what the proceedings are, because they rely on the family court proceedings on the fact there's a pending prosecution, and the pending prosecution goes away, and because you're having to prove it in public, which is much harder than proving it in private, and then suddenly, oh dear.
Well, this is the problem, because the final hearing in the family court is scheduled, so March 12th, the children get adopted, the parents are still languishing in prison.
Yeah.
What on earth are we expected to do? And therefore, hopefully, as the Association of Honourable McKenzie Friends,
Well,
become a little bit more effective than Belinda and I on our...
But again, all of the problem, each one of these cases is actually quite complex, and it takes a lot of work, and that's really where the difficulty lies.
Well, is it, what would you...
Well, this is a fairly basic principle, you know, should
Yes.
the civil case be heard before or after the criminal
Well,
case?
only the civil case, the thing is, because they operate on a different standard of proof, it's entirely possible for them to happen separately. The difficulty you have is that the civil case should not rely on anything in the criminal case till it's proven, if you see what I mean. But they often do that wrong.
What is found in the criminal case could actually destroy the civil case.
Well, one of the difficulties with that is that, and although
Conversely,
I look at
what's
this,
found in the civil case
yeah.
could destroy the criminal, the
Well,
defence. or the-
they're different. One's on balance of probabilities, the other one's beyond reasonable doubt. Now, there are different arguments about that as to whether that there is a good argument that actually we could do better in the family courts by only relying on beyond reasonable doubt. Because although there is actually a good argument not to do that, it creates such a mess. And I see so many cases where it's just very muddy. You know, and the cases are so uncertain